Welcome back to the Panic Room, everyone, and to another tag video today. And yes, we do have the tag owl today. He is wearing my Lydia Dietz hat, so he is dressed and ready. So today's tag is the reading goals tag, and I was tagged very sweetly by Michael K. Vaughn. So thank you, Michael. Now guys, I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna be a tough one and probably not very exciting. Because if you've been around me for any length of time, you know that I didn't even know it was called mood reading until I started on BookTube, but that's just what I do, like naturally. I don't really plan much of anything when it comes to my books, mostly because my entire life is planned, and yeah, books are like the one part that I don't have to. You guys should see my calendar. It's color-coded. But we're gonna do this because I was tagged. So hang on, who knows where we might end up with these prompts. All right, so I have Michael's video pulled up on my phone for the prompts, and here we go. Prompt number 1, tag some friends. No. So prompt number 2, do you set reading goals? Why or why not? No, mostly because of everything I said in the intro. My entire life is planned. You know, my job requires me to be very detail oriented. You know, I do, keep a house. I live with a child, I have a boyfriend, everything has to be planned, and I'm very type A in that regard. So for me, my reading is just that, my reading. I don't plan it per se. I might have books that I want to read, if you want to call that planning, but do I sit down and I'm going to read this in January? No, I don't do that. I read what I want to read when I want to read it, because I really don't have that luxury in most other areas of my life. Prompt number 2, are your goals things that you absolutely aim to complete, or more general themes you want to focus on? Well, since I don't have goals, no, I would definitely say that it is more of a general theme. I always have the goal to read, period. That is something that is important to me, and no matter what, I always want to have that as a part of my life. Now, what I'm reading, specifically, no, I don't plan that. I don't have goals really for any of that. Like I said, the better part of my life is planned. This is literally the only place that I don't have to do that, and I'm not gonna do that. Prompt number 4, when in the year do you set new goals? I don't. Now, okay, let's see if I can make this a little bit more entertaining. If there is something that I want, I will obviously strive to get it, and that's the case for every part of my life. So if there is something that I want to read, I'm going to make a point to read said thing. So if you want to call that a goal, then I guess I set new ones at a lot of different points in the year. For example, I would love to reread some of my favorites, but at the same time, there's so many new worlds and new books that I want to go into that rereading old things just doesn't seem to usually be a priority for me. It is loosely something that I wouldn't mind doing one day just for the hell of it, but it's not something really high up there. So every now and then an idea like that, like rereading something will come back around, but it usually gets usurped by, a new release or a new discovery of something that I want to read that I haven't read. So yeah, the goal is there to do stuff like that, but I'm going to put whatever I want to do in the forefront, because as I've said ad nauseum, this is the only part of my life that I don't have to plan, that I really get to do whatever I want. So I'm not about to, mess that up by, making myself feel bad if I don't hit or set some type of goal. All right, prompt number 5, do you have any long-standing goals that you aim for every year? If yes, what are they? Not really. My only, really underlining goal is to continue to read, because there is a very real threat, in my busy life that I won't pick up that book. That's really one of the biggest reasons I have a BookTube channel, is because it's motivation for me to keep reading. Not that I need that, but life happens. Life gets in the way. And for me to combat that is not to, pencil it into my already busy schedule. It's to find enjoyment and joy in it, so much so that I continue to make it a priority. So I guess if you want to say, a long-term goal, that's probably about as far as it goes for me, is I want to continue to make reading and reading things that I enjoy a priority. All right, prompt number 6. What type of goal has been the most successful by whatever metric you choose in the past? Not having them. That's worked for me. I know for other people, it probably is better for you to write down a list of goals. Maybe that keeps you motivated to be able to check those boxes, and that's great. We're all different in that regard. But for me, if I started to make reading a point on a list, it would, I guess, take away some of the joy, some of the spontaneity that I feel when I can be like, oh, I want to read that, and then that, and then that, and then that. So for me, it doesn't really work like that. The rest of my life is penciled into black and white boxes in my calendar. I don't want my books to be like that. I want to retain that, like, oh my gosh, can you believe this happened, with every single book that I read. And I feel like putting it into a calendar or putting it onto a list is going to suck some of that emotion out of me, and I don't want to have that happen. So I guess you could say that that has been my most successful type of goal, or I guess activity surrounding my reading, is to constantly keep it off of my calendar and off of a list, because it keeps it joyful for me. All right, prompt number 7. What type of goal has not gone to plan? What went wrong? The very short amount of time that I considered doing things like TBRs, that lasted all of 12 seconds, because I was like, I can't do this. I can't. I'm not going to get on here and say, well, I didn't read this and I felt so bad. And I'm just not, because I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad if I don't get to a book because my teaching schedule was outlandish last week, or, Mrs. Horse had a choir recital. I'm not going to do that with my reading. I'm not going to bring that emotion in there, because I'm already too keen to do that in other parts of my life. I will be damned if it gets into my reading. I'm not going to do it, and I never will. All right, prompt number 8. Do you change your goals based on how the last reading year has gone? Not really. I guess the one and only thing that I've said that could even conceivably be a goal is to constantly be reading, and reading more of what I like. So if the previous year I feel like I haven't read enough or haven't made enough time to read what I want, then perhaps I will try to do better in the coming year. But more often than not, I don't have to worry about that, because this continues to be a priority for me, because it brings me joy. And the older I get, the more I realize that you really need to make time for those things, because, like it or not, you're not here forever. And I don't want to be on my deathbed and think, I sure am glad I took those extra hours at work instead of reading that book. Now, that's not to say, don't have a job or anything, but I feel like you guys get what I'm saying. Reading is a joy for me, and I want to continue to make joy a priority in my life. All right, prompt number 9. Do you track your reading goals? If so, how? No. Hell no. The closest, I guess you could say, I come to tracking is putting an absolute shit ton of books on my Goodreads want to read list. That's about it. And even that isn't set in stone, because even if I was at the library and had a book in my hand that was on my Goodreads account, if I saw something that caught my eye that I wanted to read more, I'm putting that book down and getting the other one, whether or not it's on the Goodreads list. So no, that is not set in stone. It is a loose amalgamation of what I would like to read, but I wouldn't even call that a goal. It's more like a list of possibilities. And the last prompt, number 10, has any of this changed a lot over the course of your reading life? I have to say that probably the reason I am the way I am today, I have had an absolute lifelong love of reading ever since my mom read to me as a kid. I credit that with falling in love with reading because she read to me as a child. And I remember really resenting in like high school and college being told what to read. Like, I absolutely hated it. I didn't necessarily hate what they were telling me to read. I just didn't like the idea of them saying, you have to read this by this time on this day, because I felt like they were encroaching on my happiness. This is my happy place. These are the worlds that I go to get away from this shit. And for you to tell me you have to do this, this, and this, and try to categorize or catalog my reading, I really hated it. So when I got away from that and got out of school, I was like, cool, I'm never going to do that shit again. And I haven't. Like I think I've made appallingly clear in this video, I don't do that with my reading. I do it with literally everything else in my life. I have my classes and, family activities, cleaning schedules, cooking schedules, things like that down pat. And I'm not about to do that with my reading and bring back that like high school hatred that I had so many years ago. So guys, thanks for hanging out for a tag video. I know this one was probably really weird. You know, when Michael first tagged me in this, I was like, yay, cool, a tag. And then I got to looking and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna suck at this. But I hope maybe it gave you guys opposite side of the spectrum kind of experience with what maybe other booktubers are doing. And you know, may I add that I don't care what anyone does. You know, I feel like you should do what works for you. This just happens to be how I function. My last name is Panic after all. Did you guys really think that I planned a whole lot? But guys, thanks for hanging out for a tag video. Please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, bye for now.
Mm-hmm.